It's crazy to think that the NBA bubble was almost 6 years ago, and even take the bubble out. The NBA in 2020 was one of the weirdest seasons I've ever seen in sports. So today, I wanted to go back and look at just how crazy this season actually was. First, this was the duo era of basketball. Kawhi and Paul George, AD and LeBron, KD and Kyrie, James Harden and Russell Westbrook, Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham. Okay, my bad. Sorry on the last one. The 2019 draft class was one of the most highly anticipated classes of any since the turn of the new decade. Ja Morant, Kobe White, Tyler Hero, Darius Garland, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, the list goes on and on and on. But Zion Williamson was the generational LeBron-esque prospect. He showed off everything you want an NBA star in his lone season at Duke. He, of course, was drafted first by the Pelicans, but would suffer a pretty serious injury in Summer League, and we didn't know it at the time, but it cost Zion the first 3 months of his rookie season, returning in January. Speaking of Summer League, it was this season that a freaking earthquake happened right outside the arena in Las Vegas. That should have been our first sign that this year was going to be pretty weird. This was the first year post Golden State. The Raptors had taken down the Warriors powerhouse in 6 games, although the Warriors did lose both Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson to injury in that series. 2020 was the first year it felt like in a long time that it was truly anyone's league. The Lakers and Clippers opened as favorites, but anything could happen. And unfortunately for the Warriors, the worst happened as Stephen Curry broke his hand just 5 games in, meaning the Warriors were officially tanking. Remember how I mentioned those rookies? Well, Ja Morant was looking like everything the media said he'd be and then some. He emerged as the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year, but Kendrick Nunn was not far behind. Nunn was undrafted in 2018 and played in the G League. The Heat signed him for the 2019 season, and he balled out, averaging 15 points a game. And you might say that's not that impressive, but remember, this was a team with Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Jimmy Butler. Must I remind you of the video they did for Slam?
Just a good kid.
The Bucks looked as good as ever, with Giannis poised to defend his MVP trophy. The Raptors were also finding a new identity post Kawhi, as were the Boston Celtics, with their new trio adding Kemba Walker with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Kyrie was balling out in Brooklyn while KD was sidelined, but the real competition was in the West, with the Lakers and Clippers going band for band in the Staples Center. This couldn't have been more clear on Christmas Day in 2019, when the Clippers won a thriller 111-106 behind 35 points from Kawhi Leonard. The Rockets, Jazz, and Nuggets lagged slightly behind, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who were supposed to be rebuilding after trading Russ and PG. Unfortunately, the turn of the new decade didn't bring very good news, as former commissioner David Stern passed away at 77. A pinnacle of the league, the man who honestly saved the NBA in a time when it was a drug-ridden disaster circus. To honor the legacy, teams wear a black stripe on their jerseys. On January 25th, LeBron James made history, passing Kobe Bryant for 3rd all-time in points scored in a career. Bron did this in Philadelphia with Kobe in attendance. Bryant posted this picture on Instagram. Little did we know how the world would change just one day later.
Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. ABC News confirming the 5-time NBA champion for the Los Angeles Lakers was among 5 people killed.
On January the 26th, Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others, including the pilot, crashed while flying Kobe's private helicopter to a basketball tournament. Kobe died at just 41, and it felt like the NBA stopped. Players, coaches, fans, the league executives, devastated. Players started paying tributes, running 8 and 24-second shot clock violations. His funeral was attended by thousands, including Shaq, Michael Jordan, and the entire Lakers organization. The Lakers also held a celebration of life before their first home game, where LeBron made this special tribute.
Words of Kobe Bryant, Mamba out, but in the words of us, not forgotten.
The Lakers went on a tear in the new year, going 13-4. During the All-Star break in Chicago, Buddy Hield won the 3-point contest, with Derrick Jones Jr. beating out Aaron Gordon and Dwight Howard, of all people, in the dunk contest. The All-Star game itself had a new format. While the draft was back with LeBron and Giannis as captains, there was also a new target score instead of a full 48-minute game. All players wore either the number 24 for Kobe or the number 2 for his daughter Gianna. It was a special event. We have to skip just a few weeks later when this little thing, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called coronavirus, COVID-19, or whatever other name you have for it, there were huge concerns over the safety of everyone, and the NBA was no different. Some teams were planning on scheduling empty arena games, but then March 11th came. The Thunder and Jazz were about to tip off when suddenly teams were forced back to the locker room. Men in suits ran onto the courts, and officials called the game. It was later found out that Jazz center Rudy Gobert had tested positive for COVID-19. This came after Gobert made fun of the virus, hovering and touching mics in an earlier press conference. This caused shockwaves around the league. Just take a look at Mark Cuban when he found out. Vince Carter would hit one final three, and then the rest of the NBA was suspended indefinitely. And there was definitely concern that not only the NBA, but life as we knew it was over. We have to fast forward once again to June 4th, 2020, when the league came up with a plan. They'd send 22 teams to Orlando, Florida at Disney's Wide World of Sports, which would be known as the NBA bubble. And the Board of Governors passed it, and a few weeks later, players were allowed back in their team facilities for practice and conditioning. In early July, teams departed for Orlando. After a 48-hour quarantine, practice would begin in hotel ballrooms. But this era, for me, was defined by two key guys, Lakers center JaVale McGee and 76ers rookie forward Matisse Thybulle, who decided to vlog their entire bubble experience. These episodes were amazing, as it really allowed fans who were absolutely not allowed anywhere near the bubble to see what it was like, to see what was going on, to see what fun looked like. Players were tested almost daily, and for example, in one of Matisse Thybulle's episodes, his team got in trouble for sitting too close at a restaurant.
We have to have a conversation.
It was also interesting because of how different the two players were. McGee is an NBA vet, while Thybulle was a rookie, and he still had to take care of some of his rookie duties. Like, for example, when he was getting on the plane to head to Orlando, he had to stop by Chick-fil-A and get lunch for everybody. Regardless, though, the first game will be played on July 22nd, a scrimmage between the Nuggets and Wizards, with the actual season beginning on July 30th between the Pelicans and Jazz. One big piece of the bubble I haven't mentioned is social justice. The league reacted to the recent events in Louisville, Kentucky and Minneapolis, Minnesota by wearing t-shirts that said Black Lives Matter. Players were also given the choice to wear a social justice saying on the back of their jerseys, which I know was supposed to create a lot of good and awareness and change. But nowadays, if you look at these jerseys, you have some gems like Vote for Millsap or Andre Iguodala's Group Economics jersey, or what about Mike Conley's I Am a Man? The bubble was fun basketball because it felt like a scrimmage at times, so you had random guys just going stupid. TJ Warren, that man was insane. He dropped 53 points on August the 1st against the Sixers. We can't talk about the seeding games without talking about the Phoenix Suns. The Suns were counted out, and some people were questioning why in the world were they even in the bubble. But Devin Booker and company went ballistic, going 8-0 in regular season play, but still that wasn't enough, and the Suns fell short of the playoffs. At the top of the bracket, the Lakers started rough, going 3-5. They looked rusty, and they'd have to get used to playing together again. The Dallas Mavericks looked great, as Luka Doncic was really showing signs of a future league MVP, and the Clippers looked poised to make a run of their own. Out east, pretty much the same as the regular season, the Celtics, Heat, Raptors, and Bucks stood out, while the Nets, Magic, and Sixers were all just happy to be there. Giannis Antetokounmpo went back-to-back, winning MVP, beating out LeBron and James Harden. Ja Morant won Rookie of the Year. Giannis also took home Defensive Player of the Year. Brandon Ingram won Most Improved Player, now on the Pelicans. And Montrezl Harrell won Sixth Man of the Year for the Clippers. The bracket was set, and we were in for some of the greatest playoff hoops we have ever seen. Let's get the boring games out of the way. The Celtics swept the Sixers, Toronto swept the Nets, the Heat ended TJ Warren's magical run in 4, and despite losing game 1, the Bucks won 4 straight to beat the Magic. Out west, Portland gave the Lakers a scare behind Damian Lillard's 34 points in game 1, but LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, of all people, helped lead the Lakers to 4 straight. The Mavericks Clippers was supposed to be boring. Luka was amazing, but without Kristaps Porzingis, the Clippers would steamroll them, right? Well, not exactly. They'd split the first 4 games of the series, including this incredible ending in game 4.
Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer.
Unfortunately for Dallas, the Clippers would just be too much, and they'd win Game 5 and 6 by an average of 28.5 points. The Rockets Thunder was another series that wasn't even supposed to be close. Houston was heavily favored. OKC wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, but CP3 and this young Thunder squad went band for band with Harden and Westbrook, and the series went to 7. The best series of the first round, though, was definitely the Jazz Nuggets. Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Rudy Gobert. This series was in jeopardy after Game 4, with Utah winning 3 straight to go up 3-1, but Jamal Murray went nuclear, dropping 42 in Game 5 and 50 in Game 6, setting up for Game 7. In one of the lowest scoring playoff games ever, the Nuggets won 80-78 to face the Clippers. The Clippers felt destined to make the Western Conference Finals to play the Los Angeles Lakers, and just like in the Utah series, Denver found themselves down 3-1, but the Clippers absolutely fell apart. Kawhi and Paul George completely disappeared, and once again, Jamal Murray rose, dropping 40 in Game 7, and the Nuggets pulled off another 3-1 comeback. The Lakers handled the Rockets in 6, and honestly, at times, it looked easy. The two big man lineup using JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, and Anthony Davis worked well, and LA was able to out-rebound anybody. In a shocking turn of events, Giannis went down with an injury, and the Miami Heat, led by playoff Jimmy Butler, willed their way to the conference finals in 5 games. Now, the Celtics playing the Raptors in the 2-3 matchup, absolute cinema. This series went to 7 games, and in the end, the Boston Celtics advanced. So in the East, we've got Heat Celtics, and in the West, Nuggets Lakers. I remember this time so well because I remember thinking I wanted a Nuggets Heat series. If only we'd ever get that.
Let it play out. It's over. At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions.
Never mind, the Nuggets knew they could not get down 3-1. This felt like the Lakers' year to win all season long, and in the East, the Heat were playing with house money. They weren't supposed to be here in the first place, while Boston was trying to handle business. The Lakers proved to be too much for the Nuggets, despite 25 a game from Murray and 21 from Jokic. LeBron, AD, Kyle Kuzma, KCP, and the Twin Towers, that's my new name for Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, cruised in 5. Out East, the games were a little better. Miami went up 2-0. And how about Goran Dragic? Yeah, I bet that's a name you haven't heard in a while. 25 points in Game 2 to lead Miami to a 5-point win, 106-101. Boston would win Games 3 and 5 before the Heat would win Game 6. Bam Adebayo, one of the greatest players of our generation, dropping 32 points and 14 boards. Listen, don't get mad at me. He did score 83. So with all the chaos, all the madness, we've made it. The NBA Finals, almost a year after the season began. Lakers Heat, LeBron, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis. The Lakers were heavy favorites. And to be honest, even though this series went to 6 games, it felt like the Heat were getting swept. Our favorite coffee barista, Jimmy Butler, went off and gave everything he had. I mean, this picture exemplifies Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. But Bam's size or lack of, and LeBron James showing why he's one of the greatest players to pick up a basketball, had the Lakers winning in 6 games. Bron would win Finals MVP once again, and the Los Angeles Lakers won another championship. They did it for Kobe. So yeah, the 2020 season was absolutely insane. I'm forever thankful for this time because it made me realize don't take basketball for granted. Don't take the NBA for granted because it can be taken away or changed in an instant. And for the people that say the Lakers won a Mickey Mouse ring, listen, just because it was at Disney World, they played through one of the craziest times in our world's history. And that for me solidifies their place in NBA history.